Hey, welcome back, everybody. Um, this is Pirate Solutions Forestry. My name is Bill. What we're going to do is it's a rainy day here in New England, and Danny and I, trying to find things to do. I've got a pile of bands that don't need to be set; they just need to be just face sharpened, and we are going to see if we can sharpen the new Stellite bands from Norwood. It's a German-made band on a standard stone. I know there's been some debate about it whether you can do it or not. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it. We're going to try it, and because I only need to face dust these bands, I'm going to use my chainsaw rock as opposed to my tapered rock that actually fits into the gullets. I don't need to use my tapered rock. And I don't know if this tapered rock fits. Actually, it just appears that it really doesn't. Fits these stellite bands anyway. Um, does not appear that it does. So this rock would probably have to be re-tapered to fit. But what we're going to do is we're going to try and put a hone on them with the chainsaw rock, with the pink rock. And if we find out that this won't sharpen the stellite, I've already set this up and I've already done this one tooth on this side of the weld. Uh, and it's perfect at 7 degrees and it's really sharp. If we find out that this won't do the stellite, what we'll do is we'll swap rocks, profile the rock, and see if going to the gray stone matters, because there's a possibility that the stellite might wipe out this pink rock. So we're going to find that out. Um, and we'll take a look at it. What I can tell you is that this stellite band that I've been running is fairly dull. It in no way grabs, my skin. I did run this yesterday on the white oak. If you haven't seen the video, then go ahead and watch it. But we're going to go ahead and run around and we're going to see how it sharpens. And I will get you some close ups and we'll make a determination whether a pink rock works. And if a pink rock doesn't work, then we'll try the gray rock and we'll see if these stellites can even be sharpened with a rock. So here's Danny laying on the floor. He's not crazy about machine noise, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you over here for a sec, looking from a distance, and I'm going to blacken up a tooth. The next one is a stellite tooth. Hopefully the spacing is the same. Now this is the weld, so I may have to readjust for this next tooth, but we're going to go ahead and run it. We're going to see where it hits. So it is slightly just missing right now. So I might have to back this off just a hair. Just get it to where it's just rubbing. These don't need much. So I don't know if you can hear that or not, but right now I'm just slightly rubbing the face of the tooth. I'm going to blacken the face of the tooth, and I'm going to see if, when I do sharpen it, if it takes the blackening off. And we'll get a close-up of it after. I'll probably do a few teeth just to make sure that this is working. Make sure that my depth is right, because what you don't want to do when you're just face sharpening is you don't want to get into the gullet. I am just touching the bottom radius. So let's go ahead and see what happens. We're gonna, as we see the spark pattern is going to tell a lot. All right, so Just based on the spark pattern, what I can tell you is it did grind it. It feels crazy sharp. It's peeling my fingernail. I'll get you in here close for a view. We'll check the angle. Let's do a couple more real quick before I move you over here, and I'll just keep that in mind as I move along. Make sure that nothing's changed. So what I don't know is if that stellite sticks out further. Doesn't look like it does. It looks like it was ground with the stellite on. This is a stellite tooth here. Just based on the spark pattern, it is grinding it. And the question is whether it's going to wear the rock real quick. It's not heating them up at all. I'll just show you that real quick. What I'm doing is not heating the teeth at all. I can put my fingers right on there. We'll get some close-ups in a minute. That's a stellite tooth. You can tell by the different spark pattern that it is grinding it. What I'm wondering is if it's going to wear the stone a lot. Doesn't appear the way I'm doing it that it is. Let's do a few more. One thing I don't see is I don't see any spark pattern over the top of the tooth. So we're going to have to really get a close-up of, I might grab it on here, what's going on to make sure that we get these teeth sharp. This is a stellite tooth. If this seems slow, it's really not. It takes me about 12 minutes to do a whole band, and I can really address every tooth because from my angle, I can see the. Let me do one more stellite. Sorry, I can see the glinting on the teeth, and it's what needs to be hit. So I'm going to just check for a burr on the stellite. There is a burr on this tooth. There's barely a burr on this tooth, but it's very, very sharp. I'll get you in here in a sec. There's a burr on this stellite tooth. Very, very sharp. It's peeling my fingernail. So let's get a close-up view, see what's going on. And if I have to pull it out of the grinder to do it, then we will. I'm not really sure yet how this is going to work. But let's get you out of the grinder. Let's get you out of the tripod. We'll show you up close. Now, like I said, this is a standard chainsaw pink rock. And this is the rock that I use when my bands don't need to be set. I just want to sharpen the face of the tooth. And if you can see this stellite tooth right here, definitely sharpen the face. You can see that it's sharp, but it's just peeling. Oh, come on, focus. Focus. You can see that it's grabbing my fingernail, no problem. Now these, of course, are very sharp. Hopefully you can see that that stellite is certainly grabbing my fingernail. Let's try to get some light on the subject here. Take a look at what's happened. I'm going to have to get my hand behind here. Try and get the light right too. Both. So it definitely sharpened the face of the tooth. I hope you can see that. You can see how it's sharpened in these as well. What we'll do is let's check the angle on them. Let's make sure that we're not making a mistake. And we'll check the angle on the stellite also. Find one here where it's not going to interfere. So here's this, you can see the back of my thumb. So these are definitely sharp. You get zoomed in. Come on, there you go. So this angle finder is set at 7 degrees right now. You can see that's grinding it perfectly at 7 degrees. Let's get some light in between the hole there. Come on, focus. So yeah, I think you can see the light line there. It's sharpening them perfectly at 7 degrees. And it certainly is sharpening the teeth. I don't feel any abnormal wear on the stone. So it appears that just a standard stone does sharpen these. This is what the face looks like after I've run the pink stone down it. These were definitely dull, but now hopefully you can see, if you zoom in close there on my finger, you can see the little bit of a burr. Yeah, you can see it pretty clear right there. There's a burr on top of the tooth. So, you know, it definitely apexes. This is really sharp, guys. So it appears that this is kind of proof of concept that the stellite can be sharpened with a standard stone. Let me get you back in the holder here. I'll roll through some more of this band. Maybe I'll get you a different view. I don't know if you're going to be right behind me here or not, but let's see if maybe I can get you a view over the light. Just get you a view from the side here. I don't want that to focus in on the light. Maybe I could, you know, let's do this. Let's drop you down and get you in front of the light. Get you a real good view of what's going on. There you go. All right, and I'll see if I can roll through something like this without hitting the camera. So basically what I do, I don't know if, let me see, my arm's going to be, yeah, my arm, I'll try to pull down from here. This one's sharp. What I do is I roll to the next one, I back it up into the stop, I tighten my thing down, and then I'll do it with the other hand. Oh, jumped one. Sorry, jumped a tooth there. Trying to do this like this is hard, trying to stay out of the camera's way. Show you what the spark pattern looks like. See if I got that whole tooth. Yep. So this is a simple DIY setup. To for basic sharpening, and I can see the glinting on these teeth. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. I'm going to pull you out of the hole there for a second. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about with the glinting on the teeth. So if you look, see this tooth right here. You see that shiny spot on the top right in front of my finger? That's the glinting on the tooth from where it's dull. So after I sharpen it, I shouldn't see any of that glinting like on this tooth right here. That means that I've sharpened past the dull. The dull is that little shiny spot on the top right there where this tooth is rounded over and the light from behind me, from behind the camera here, is shining off really the top and the back side of the tooth. So we'll go ahead and hit that one. Actually, let's do it from here. If I can, let's back off my tension. Go one thing over. You can see the glinting on the next one too. Tighten it down. Now, if you watch, when I come down, I'm barely kissing the front of the tooth. You see that that glinting's gone. That means that I've sharpened, and now I have a burr on the top. Nice burr on the top. I'll show you what it looks like when we do a stellite tooth. There's a stellite tooth on the next one. You can maybe see the spark pattern here. You can see it's a completely different spark pattern. These are not hot, so I'm not overheating the teeth. Go to the next one. So you can see the glinting there above my finger. Can't really see any here because this tooth is leaning away from me, but trust me, it's not sharp. Now, one thing that I do find is because the stellite sticks out, you see the glinting there. Because the stellite sticks out, it does stick to my stops a little bit. Try and get you focused in on that one. Nice straight face. Hopefully, if I can get the focus right, hopefully we can see the burr on the top. But this is nice sharp apex tooth. I don't know if I can get the whole view. But sharpen the face, sharpen the face, sharpen the stellite, ground the face. So that's the process. And so just to let you know that the stone does sharpen the stellite. So that's a good sign that we can just go ahead and grind these out and get you back up where in real, actually we'll leave you there. Get back over to my perch here. So it's a good sign that the stone can sharpen the stellite, and it gives a nice warm kind of spark. You can tell it's a different metal. And like I said, this takes me about 12 minutes to do a whole band. And the good part about doing this is that I can address every tooth to make sure that every tooth is sharp. Now this is not, like I said, is not grinding the gullets like on my profile rock, because after just a little bit of cutting, these don't really need to be ground out. But I have, just looking over there, I think I've got like 3 or 4 more bands that can be sharpened and go back in my box and hopefully get ready for tomorrow. So it looks like we don't need anything special. No, the big question mark is going to be, is this stellite going to really wear this rock? It's probably going to wear the rock different. So it is probably going to wear the rock. These chainsaw rocks, they're not cheap, but they're not super expensive. We'll go ahead and roll through. For those of you who want to hang on, let's roll through the rest of the band. It looks like I got it set pretty well right now. And then we'll run this stellite band tomorrow. I've got to cut some red oak. And we'll see how it cuts. But what I want this channel to be about is just about information. And this is what I would call a minimal grind. I am going to have to come up with a better way to guide my bands, which will be my sawmill shed, which is where all this equipment is going to go out by the mill. And I will have a grinding bench out there. And I will set it up with really bearing guides here and there. I'll have my setter out there, my disc grinder. I have several of these, but this one grinder, all my rocks. If I see a tooth that doesn't take a full grind, then I can put a little bit of side pressure on the downward mechanism to hit it. Right now, it doesn't seem to be wearing very much. If there's heavy damage to the band, I can go more. But if there's heavy damage to the band, I'm going to grind the whole gullet. The stellite teeth, because they stick out from the side, are actually grabbing my clamps that are guiding the band around. And sometimes this grinding them to do a minimal grind like this takes longer because I'm kind of paying attention a little bit more. If I'm grinding out the whole gullet and the entire tooth profile, I kind of go out a little faster. And like that tooth, I could see the glinting very clearly. And if you look up Stellite and just simply ask your Google Assistant or AI or whatever you use, can it be ground with a rock grinding stone? Mine tells me yes. It's giving a much warmer spark pattern off the Stellite than it is off the teeth. And what this is doing is this is making, in all honesty, this is making these bands somewhat more affordable. Because if I can grind the Stellite and reuse them, then it helps out with that $40 cost. If you can't grind these, then this is not going to be a cost-effective band for you. So this makes it so that I can take the Stellite band and return it back to new in 12 minutes. And that kind of takes the sting out of the $40-something cost. And this is what I found is the least invasive way to sharpen these, is with a chainsaw rock. The chainsaw rock is contoured so it does not change the profile of the gullet, and just set the depth so that it doesn't grind into the gullet. Make a cold joint. And I only do this on bands that I don't think need to be set yet. Like your first grind on something that has never hit anything. Yeah, this is grinding that Stellite nice. I was actually able to see glinting on that Stellite tooth that I just did. Now it does appear that there is some wear happening because on some teeth it's starting to almost miss. Did not miss that Stellite tooth at all. Didn't miss that tooth. I'll tell you when it does. And it didn't miss that tooth. It's a very minimal grind, but it did not miss the tooth. My starting point's almost back to me. It's coming over here. Oh, I think I jumped a tooth there. So if you've got a band that's really cutting good and then all of a sudden it just starts to go away on sharpness, this is really, and it's still cutting fairly smooth. Anybody who watched my video yesterday, you know that, I was still getting smooth cuts at the end. That this is a good way to sharpen and just get it back to sharp, without having to grind out the entire gullet and do a set on it. I still haven't worked out how the set's going to work. I know that they're going to set faster because I only have to do 2 of every 3 teeth, which is nice. Well, actually, I think that's a dumb thing to say. You only have to do 2 of every 3 teeth anyway, so this doesn't affect setting at all. And every tooth that I can see glinting on, this is taking the glinting off. I'm almost to the weld. And for those of you out there in the world that don't have the money to spend on a expensive grinding machine, this is about the least way. This is about the cheapest way you can do it. You know, as opposed to hand filing them, which you certainly could do. To get all the teeth the same distance apart and sharp with the least amount of effort. This is about as cheap as it gets here. I don't think you can do it any cheaper than this. And get yourself back to a sharp bend. Only got a couple teeth left to do. Oop, there's a divot in the bottom. Now I have to be careful here because I'm in the weld. And one more. Yeah, see. So it took too much off that tooth. Still didn't heat it up. I'm still holding on to it. But it definitely took more off that tooth because the spacing's different around the weld here. Really ground that Stellite tooth a lot. It does not look like, just feeling them, that there's any chipping in them or anything like that. Feels like it did a relatively good job. So I think that's myth busted anyway. So I'm going to actually post this up and put it on Norwood's community pages that you can grind Stellite with a rock. You don't need a CBN or diamond wheel. Rock works fine. Even a normal everyday chainsaw pink rock works fine. The question is going to be is how much it's going to wear them. So I would suggest that you continually check your angle and make sure that you're not wearing a big round in it. That's going to make your angle come up. And when I do a full gullet profile on one of these, I'll film that too with the big rock. But for now, I mean, what we're doing is we're trying to get information out, and we're trying to get good information out and practical information out, and let you guys understand. Yeah, I can feel nice burr on the back of these Stellite here. Beautiful. Beautiful burr. It's actually taking fingernail off. So these are nicely apexed. This is sharp, sharp, sharp. As sharp as you're going to get from the factory. The only difference, that you could have would be if you went to a finer wheel to put finer scratches in this. But as far as sharp goes, this is not some hack method. This is grinding these teeth as sharp as they'll ever be from the factory as well. Now, I know I've showed this in the past, but you can go through if you're worried about it, and you can file off the burr on the back side of the teeth with a diamond file if you want to go from sharp to ridiculous sharp. And certainly the diamond file will cut the stellite. You can take it to, by going around and doing this, taking the burr off the top of the teeth so it doesn't rip off in the cut, you're going from sharp to a different level of sharp. And it only takes me with, this little diamond hone to go around this whole band. If I wanted to do that, it only takes me a few minutes, and that takes them from one level to a completely different level, and without having to go into why in depth. What happens with your tooth, if I grab a piece of plate steel here, what happens to your tooth is if your tooth is angled like this and you're grinding the face, when you grind it, you get a burr up over the top. That burr hooks back like this. And it doesn't matter, because if you grind this whole gullet profile and you hit all the way up the back, when you grind the next one, you're still putting a burr on it that's like that. When that burr goes into the wood, and depending on which kind of wood you're cutting, that burr will eventually tear off. When it tears off, it will leave a jagged edge across this cutting edge, a sawtooth edge. Still sharp, but it's jagged because the burr tore off as a piece of metal. And that jagged edge is what's susceptible to rounding over. So if you can get that burr off, like if you could grind these in reverse, full gullet profile in reverse. So you're grinding the face of the tooth first, and then you're going to the backside and you're grinding it again. Now you are going to kind of move the burr back the other way, but if you can get that burr off so it doesn't tear off, your teeth will last longer. The problem is that nobody in the sawmill world is ever going to do that. We are going to do what we did. Some people in the know in grinding teeth will go around and they'll run these through some sort of wheel that will go down and hit and grind and buff it out. But I don't think it's necessary. So for right now, because I got somebody ringing my doorbell, this is Pirate Solutions out.